The South Dakota women, off to their best start in the Division I era, are gaining a little more attention on the national level. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Coyote Corner. Well, following their win over South Dakota State, USD finally cracked CollegeInsider.com's mid-major top 25 for the first time last week. Thursday, the Coyotes, who checked in at number 19, hope to prove worthy of that distinction as they opened a two-game road trip in Fort Wayne. South Dakota looking for its first ever win at IPFW's Gates Sports Center. Haley Seibert torched the Yotes for 35 in this gym last year, and she picked up right where she left off. Finish and the foul. Don's up 10 with just over 6 minutes to play in the half. Back comes USD. Kate Liveringhouse finds Bridget Arns for the bump and the bucket. Coyotes back within 5 by the break. South Dakota starts to find its touch out of the locker room. Lisa Loeffler connects from 17 feet, and the Coyotes are up 3. They double that lead with Rachelle Contreras, one of 2 second-half trays for her, 53-47 USD. But Seibert brings her team back in a hurry. The senior knocks down 3 straight threes to put Fort Wayne back in front by 2. Seibert led all scorers with 31. USD has its own clutch performer. Taya Heemiller answered the call yet again. She gets the baseline runner to fall. That ties it at 66 with just over 2 minutes to go. Fast forward to the final 20 seconds. Coyotes up 2, and it's Heemiller again. Right by her defender and lays it in. Heemiller scored 15, 9 of them in the second half, and South Dakota holds off Fort Wayne 73-72. This was a tale of two halves offensively. After shooting just 25% in the first, USD converted at a 61% clip in the second. The difference, though, really came at the free throw line. USD hit 14 of 15 at the stripe, while Fort Wayne finished 14 for 23, including a 2 of 8 mark in the second half. USD back in action Saturday in Indianapolis against IUPUI. Turnovers plagued the Coyotes in this one. First half, Kelsey Bird collects the loose ball and takes it in for the finger roll finish. Not a lot of shots falling in that first half either for USD. Nicole Seekamp was the exception. The senior went 4 for 5 to help the Yotes keep things close. It stayed pretty tight until about the 9-minute mark. That's when the Jags started to heat up. They knocked down a couple of threes, one from Bird, another from Akilah Sims, to open up a 10-point halftime lead. Second half, Heemiller trying to be that spark again. Great look to McLeod for 2. Next possession, she does it herself. Drives in for 2 of her 9 points. That triggered a 14-5 Coyote run. Jayla Jackson capping it off from downtown, and USD is within 3. But it was all IUPUI from there. Jags outscored the Coyotes 21-5 over the final 12 minutes and pull away for a 68-43 win. Those 43 points are a season low for the Coyotes, who were averaging just over 80 per game coming in. Turnovers certainly contributed to that. Just as they did in their loss at Oral Roberts, the Coyotes gave it away 21 times. That led to 30 points for the Jags. Despite the loss in Indy, the USD women are still alone atop the Summit League standings. That's thanks to North Dakota State's loss at Western Illinois. The Coyotes currently lead the Bison by half a game with a game in hand. USD would love to cushion that lead this weekend, but in order to do it, they're going to have to clean some things up. We'll get Amy Williams' take on that after this.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Billionauto.com.
The Coyote women settled for a weekend split in the Hoosier State. It started Thursday night in Fort Wayne. Here to talk about the weekend that was in USD women's hoop is head coach Amy Williams. And Amy, you never won in Fort Wayne, and so this is obviously a difficult place to go in and play. And it's always difficult on the road to come back from digging yourself a hole, and that's kind of where you were at.
Yeah, I think obviously we know how hard it is to go on the road, but we saw a little different defense and some full court pressure, some three-quarter court pressure, and then kind of just some zone where they're looking to trap a lot out of that, and it took us a little while to kind of get into any type of offensive flow in that ball game.
You got into a little bit of momentum toward the end of the half, cut it to 5 by the break. And then it seemed like that basket looked a little bit bigger in the second half because the shooting percentage went way up, 61%, and that allowed you to come back, build a lead as big as 6.
Yeah, I think we had some players that stepped up then in the second half and just made big plays. And you know, when you have upperclassmen, that's what you like to see out of them, is to want the ball in their hands and to be willing to step up and take big shots. And I thought we had several kids that hit some big shots down the stretch to seal that win for us.
Now, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. You had some clutch performances of your own down the stretch. Ty Miller in particular over the last couple of minutes, just as she was against South Dakota State the week before, came up real large.
She did. I mean, she just sometimes gets into that little mode where she just decides, you know, I don't want to lose this game, and then she just makes big plays and comes away with it. And she made a huge layup at the basket that I thought was big for our team. But Rachel Contreras with the, you know, kind of struggling a little bit with her shooting, and then hit 2 huge threes. And Nicole Seekamp hit a big 3 down in the corner and a pull-up jumper off a ball screen. And Margaret McLeod was a steady presence for us there and hit a big basket inside down the stretch. So lots of different players kind of stepping up when we needed it and making those plays.
So you get the win, 73-72. It's your 4th straight win at that point. So you move on then to Indianapolis on Saturday, and shooting struggles that you saw in the first half at Fort Wayne reoccurred, and too many turnovers again in this particular game. That was certainly a big part of the story for you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of credit to IUPUI. They played us extremely physical, and it was a game where both teams were allowed to play physical, and we just didn't handle that very well. We kind of crumbled. We had too many turnovers. We didn't finish well. We rushed our shots, and I think, you know, it's a big credit to them and their defense and their game plan against us. And I you know, really thought our team was ready for that game and felt prepared, and just didn't come out and execute very well offensively.
The good news is you get to play your next 3 at home, and it's been a while since you've had an extended run at home, but you've played very well at the Dome. You talk so much about defending the home floor, and it's how important that's been in this Summit League so far this year. And you get to start things off Wednesday night against a Denver team that had won 3 of 4 in conference play, but lost 2 straight before winning at Fort Wayne on Saturday. This is a team, obviously, that you faced for the right to go to the NCAA tournament a year ago. A lot of the same players on both sides in this
Yeah,
one.
and I think, you know, Denver has just shown that they're really improving as the season goes on. That's kind of been their MO, at least last year and this year, is that they really start to pour it on strong later in the season. And so that's something that we're expecting this week. We know they're going to come in here and give us a great effort. You know, to go into Fort Wayne and get a win the way they did on Saturday is pretty impressive. So we know they're capable of going on the road and winning. So we're going to have to put together a great effort to protect our home court.
All right, well, good luck to you this weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.
Sounds good, Jay. Thanks.
All right, Amy. Well, the Coyote men were also on the road last weekend. We'll recap their trips to Western Illinois and IUPUI right after this.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
Well, it's been a long road for the South Dakota men, who are blessed with a schedule that would force them to play 15 of their first 21 games outside Vermilion. The Coyotes dropped the first 5, but have since started to make the miles count, winning 5 of their next 7 away from the Dakota Dome. Last week, USD set out to finish that stretch in style with games at Western Illinois and IUPUI. The trip started Thursday night in Macomb. Coyotes came in 0 for 3 at WIU since joining the Summit League. It was back and forth for much of the first half. J.C. Fuller drives in to give Western the lead. He adds to it on the very next trip. Fuller a perfect 4 for 4 in the first half. He finished with a game-high 23. He'd get some help from Garrett Covington. The Summit League's reigning newcomer of the year helped spark a 10-1 run to close the half. That gave Western a 33-25 lead at the break. Coyotes shot just 27% in that first half, but much better in the second. Brandon Boss's jumper cuts the deficit to 5. He had a team-high 14. Tyler Larson was shut out in the first half, but 55 finds the bucket here. 3-point play brought USD within 1. Coyotes complete the comeback a few possessions later. Trey Norris calls his own number and buries the J. He had 9, and USD leads by a pair. A couple of reserves help put it away. Eric Robertson stretches the lead to 4. Robertson matched his season high with 12 points, also had 9 rebounds. Sekou Harris hadn't played at all since January 2nd, but he made the most of his chance on Thursday. 2 for 2 from outside and a career-best 10 points. Coyotes dominate the second half, outscoring the Leatherneck 43-25 en route to their Summit League leading 6th road victory, 68-58 the final. USD also did a good job on the glass. The Coyotes grabbed 14 offensive rebounds, which led to 18 second-chance points. From there, the Coyotes headed east to Indianapolis for a Saturday matinee at IUPUI. Buckets were hard to come by for USD, not so much for the Jags. They got a lot of high-percentage looks, and they made them count. There's Josh James for the up and under. 24 of IUPUI's 36 first-half points were scored in the paint. On the other end, Tyler Larson trying to end the drought. That's just the third field goal of the first half, and it came with under 8 minutes to go. The Yotes didn't reach double figures until the 1:15 mark. Eric Robertson does the honors. USD finished the half 6 of 27 from the floor and trailed 36-15. The shots started to fall in the second. Trey Burnett gets the tough turnaround Jay. That was his only field goal of the day. Robertson was one of the bright spots, 41 right to the rim for 2 of his 8 points. Coyotes eventually cut the deficit to 13, but that would be as close as they would get. DeVron Williams scored 9 of his 11 points in the second half, and IUPUI hands USD its second loss in 3 games, 65-50. Tyler Larson, the only Coyote to reach double figures on Saturday. He finished with 10 points and 4 rebounds. But how about this? Larson, Robertson, and Trey Norris combined for 27 points on 12 of 22 shooting. Everybody else was 7 for 32. With the loss, USD falls a game below 500. They're now 10-11 overall and 4-3 in the Summit League. And as we take a look at the updated standings, the Coyotes, one of 3 teams with that record in conference play. Everybody's chasing South Dakota State. The Jackrabbits have won 6 straight now to take over sole possession of first place. They lead North Dakota State by a half game. Tough way to finish the weekend for USD, but the Coyotes are moving on. We'll talk about what lies ahead with head coach Craig Smith when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
Well, the USD men came into the weekend ranked in the top 20 nationally in terms of true road victories, and they picked up another one on Thursday night in Macomb. And here to talk about that and the rest of the weekend, head coach Craig Smith. And Craig, road wins are rarely easy wins, and that certainly held true in this one. J.C. Fuller, Garrett Covington keyed a big first half for Western Illinois, especially down the stretch of that opening 20 minutes.
Yeah, they were really, really good in the first half, and Covington came into the season play being a preseason first-team all-league guy, and he showed why. He had 15 in the first half, and we had no answer for him. And Fuller is a heck of a player. He's really coming on the scene. We knew he came in off a hot game at North Dakota State and played really well, and we felt like we had to shut those 2 guys down to have a chance to win. In the first half, we did anything but that, and hence we were down 8 at the half.
Yeah, 33-25 at the break. You go into the locker room. You guys have been pretty good at the adjustment side of things. And what changed coming out of that break? Because you look like a totally different team.
We made a few adjustments with some screen and roll things and with some matchups, quite frankly. And but more than all that, just really locked into changing our mentality. I didn't think our mentality was great. And then we played some different guys. Sekou Harris, I thought, really sparked us. Eric Robertson had a great game. Yeah. And those 2 guys really provided a lot of energy for us in that second half.
They outscored the Leatherneck 43-25 in the second half, go on for a 68-58 win. So you head to Indianapolis for Saturday's showdown with IUPUI. Feeling pretty good about yourselves. It didn't last, though, because no. Slow start offensively, 6 of 27 in the first half, 0 of 6 from 3, and that led to a big first half hole.
Yeah, maybe too good about ourselves. You know, it was a disappointing game. It's probably our first clunker of the year, you know, where we just, it seemed like nothing went right during that game. And we had 12 first half turnovers and it was about anything and everything where we just threw it right to them, where we'd have passes hitting our targets and going right through our hands, and which led to direct baskets for them. And disappointed with how we came out. You know, I thought our preparation was good, but it was just one of those games.
And so you take the loss there. The good news is that there's a lot of home games in your future. I know you've been waiting a long time for this. 7 of your last 10 will be at the Dakota Dome. The first two coming up this week, with the first of those coming Thursday night against Fort Wayne. Obviously, you've already seen the Dons once. You beat them at their place 64-62 back on January 10th. They had an ugly loss at South Dakota State last week, but then came back to beat North Dakota State. You've been wondering if this team isn't just waiting for that spark to kind of wake them up. Maybe that could be it. Does that concern you coming in?
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting that home. The road's been relatively good to us. We've had 21 games and 15 on the road. Mm-hmm. We have 6 road wins, which is 6th in the country in terms of road wins. But that being said, we can't wait to get home. IPFW is a very good team. The preseason team, the preseason pick to win the conference. Had been struggling a little bit, but certainly they have the talent and the ability, as much talent as anybody in the league, and they're coming off a great win against North Dakota State. And I'm sure they'll get some confidence from that win, as they should, because North Dakota State's a very good team.
Finally, quickly, Oral Roberts then on Saturday. First meeting with the Golden Eagles since 2012. But they had won 4 straight league games before losses to Denver and South Dakota State last week.
They're as good as anybody in our league. They're extremely athletic. They're very quick to the ball. They can score it in every way. And they have a veteran team that's been there, done that. And so that'll be a really tough matchup for us with their size and athleticism. And we just have to do a great job of eliminating losing. We're going to have to take care of the ball. We've got to somehow rebound with them. They're an exceptional rebounding team. And hopefully throw a few shots in there and see what happens.
Well, good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, well, Lisa Loeffler might not always fill up the box score, but that doesn't mean she's not dependable. We'll have more on the Coyote senior when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
And welcome back. Well, senior Lisa Loeffler has been a central figure in the recent rise of South Dakota women's basketball. The Maplewood, Minnesota native has started nearly every game in each of the past 2 seasons for Amy Williams and is one of the big reasons why the team is currently atop the Summit League standings. However, you wouldn't necessarily know it just by looking at the box score. For more on Loeffler's under-the-radar success, here's Alex Heiner.
When you think of USD women's basketball, Lisa Loeffler isn't usually the first name that comes to mind. On a team that features all-conference caliber players like Nicole Seekamp, Rachel Contreras, and Taya He-Miller, the 6'1" senior forward isn't going to grab many of the headlines. Yet even though Loeffler is averaging under 6 points a game this season and doesn't lead the Yotes in any major statistical category, South Dakota fans and head coach Amy Williams know the stats don't always tell the story.
Lisa means so much to our team, and it's hard for me to explain. She doesn't always show up in the stat lines, but she's so consistent and I can depend on her. And we talked about how important consistency is, and she's kind of the epitome of that.
Consistency has been the name of the game for Loeffler, who worked her way into Williams' starting lineup during her sophomore season and hasn't relinquished the role since, due in large part to her unselfishness on the court.
I like to do all the little things, like get screens, get rebounds, try to get my teammates open shots. I just like to work hard for them.
After an all-Minnesota level prep career at North St. Paul High School that saw her average 14 points a game her junior and senior seasons, Loeffler's scoring has taken a back seat since coming to Vermilion. Though given the team's run of success, she doesn't seem to mind.
Scoring to me doesn't matter. Like, as long as we end up with more points than the other team, it doesn't matter how it happens.
That team-first attitude truly epitomizes Loeffler's game, and it's a big reason why the Yotes sorely missed her when she was briefly out of the lineup earlier this season.
We had to play one game this year without Lisa. She had a death in the family, and it just becomes glaring how much she just brings and how much she means to the team.
What she's brought has helped bring USD to the top of the Summit League standings again this season, and that's only increased the level of trust Williams has in her.
Every time she's out on the floor, I believe that she's going to do her job and box out and do her job and defend.
She can always count on me to be in the right place at the right time.
That trust comes from lots and lots of repetition and being solid and consistent, and that just dependability, and she certainly has that.
Loeffler played a huge role in helping lead the Coyotes to the Summit League Tournament Championship a year ago.
You can't explain the feeling. Like, I'm getting goosebumps now.
And while she'd love to make it back to the big dance in this, her final season,
Everybody likes to end their career with a good win. So, I mean, championship would be awesome.
she knows there's more to the game than just the numbers.
Obviously, I wish it happened. I hope it happens. But if it doesn't, like, I know my team is here and playing for all of us. And as long as we're having fun at the end, like, I'll take that too.
What great perspective from one of the senior leaders and one of the unsung heroes on this team, Jay. She might not light up a box score every night, but anybody who knows USD basketball knows just how important Lisa Loeffler is to this team's success.
Yeah, you're certainly right about that. A lot of value in a player a coach can trust. Well, Loeffler and the USD women are going to tip off a very busy week at the Dakota Dome. The Coyotes will host Denver Wednesday night in a rematch of last year's Summit League Tournament Championship. Pioneers, who feature one of the top three-point shooters in the Summit League in Paige Bradley, are also coming in off a weekend split in Indiana, which included a win at Fort Wayne. The men will be looking to complete a season sweep Thursday when they tip off a three-game homestand against IPFW. Coyotes took round one 64-62 in Fort Wayne back on January 10th. The Dons, who were the Summit League's preseason favorite, actually lost 5 of their first 6 Summit League games before picking up that big win Saturday over North Dakota State. Should be a good one, and you can see it here on Midco Sports Network. Greg Steeman and I have the call for you. We'll hit the air right at 7 p.m. The Coyotes will play 2 with Oral Roberts on Saturday. The women will look to avenge an earlier loss to the Golden Eagles, but to do that, they'll have to find a way to slow down Vicky McIntyre. ORU's 6'7" center had 19 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 blocks in the first meeting with the Coyotes on January 8th. That game is slated for 2 p.m. with the men to follow. It's the first meeting between those two programs since 2012. The series has been all Oral Roberts. The Coyotes are 0-4 all-time against ORU. Another good chance for both USD Hoops teams to strengthen their position in the Summit League, and we'll be back here to break it all down for you next week on another episode of Coyote Corner. Until then, I'm Jay Elsen. Thanks for watching.